The Niagara Foundation presents its 2010 activities. Niagara Forums. The Niagara Forums are designed to cultivate friendship, celebrate diversity, strengthen civic dialogue, and deepen intercultural awareness and understanding among the many diverse communities in the greater Chicago area. These forums include the Niagara Luncheon Forums, the Niagara Morning Conversations, and the Niagara Lecture Series. They provide information on issues important to greater Chicagoans and to our world. They also help to build strong and lasting relationships of respect between and among people of different ethnic, cultural, and religious backgrounds. Some of the distinguished speakers in our 2010 Niagara Forums were Brian Remedy, Chief Administrative Officer of the U.S. Soccer Federation; the Honorable Kirsten Lane, Consul General of Sweden; the Honorable Gustavo Martino, Consul General of Argentina; Kemal Karpat, Distinguished Professor Emeritus of Modern Turkish and Ottoman History at the University of Wisconsin at Madison; the Honorable Ono Hukman, Consul General of Germany; the Honorable John Cullerton, President of the Illinois Senate; Dr. Alp Aslandoan, President of the Institute of Interfaith Dialogue; Dr. Sam Fleischacker, Professor of Philosophy at UIC; Anne Pramagiori, President and Chief Operating Officer of ComEd; the Reverend Dr. Dirk Fika, Executive Director of the Council for a Parliament of the World Religions; and Lucinda Mosher, Independent Writer. Community Service Projects. In 2010, the Niagara Community Projects team organized many programs beneficial to local communities. Since its inception, the team continued to organize the Our Meals for the Homeless initiative. The team worked with food organizations and churches to distribute hot meals to the needy living on the streets in the greater Chicago area. Charity bazaars to raise scholarships for students and intergenerational nursing home visits gave Niagara Foundation volunteers the opportunity of being responsible citizens of our Chicagoland community. Niagara Foundation, for the first time this year, organized a community Sunday brunch collaborating with the Crystal Lake community. This new initiative brings local people together on a Sunday morning and gives them the chance to meet each other in a festive atmosphere. This year's special guest was Secretary of State Jesse White and his tumbling team. Their tumbling show drew an impressive applause. Special events. Niagara Foundation celebrates important days each year with the attendance of a diverse group of people from all walks of life. In 2010, Niagara Foundation organized a reception in honor of Black History Month. The keynote speech was given by the Honorable Jesse White, the Secretary of the State of Illinois. Also in 2010, Niagara Foundation went to Springfield again for the annual intercultural reception at the state's capital. We celebrated our state's diversity with legislators and other officials of the Illinois state government. The reception took place at the Illinois State House, and the guests were treated with Turkish art, food, and music. Patrons of the Springfield reception included Governor Pat Quinn, Secretary of State Jesse White, Speaker Michael Madigan, Senate President John Cullerton, Treasurer Alexi Giannoulias, and State Senator John J. Milner. A bipartisan group of 28 legislators from the House and Senate formed the hosting committee for the reception. Peace and Dialogue Awards Dinner. Every year at the Niagara Peace and Dialogue Awards Dinner, the Niagara Foundation recognizes individuals and organizations that have contributed their time, energy, leadership, and dedication to the cause of dialogue, peace, mutual understanding, and community service in the greater Chicago area. In 2010, awards were presented to individuals in 4 different categories. The Niagara Lifetime Leadership Award was presented to the Honorable Jesse White, the Secretary of the State of Illinois. The Niagara Media Award was presented to the Chicago International Film Festival. The award was received by Michael Kutza, founder and the artistic director of the festival. The Niagara Fetula Gulen Award was presented to His Grace, Bishop Demetrios of Mokisos. Chancellor of the Metropolis of Chicago Greek Orthodox Church. The Niagara Commitment Award was presented to Deborah L. DeHaas, Vice Chairman and Midwest Regional Managing Partner of Deloitte. The event was co-chaired by Governor Pat Quinn and presented by the Mistress of Ceremonies, Allison Rosati from NBC5. Intercultural and interfaith activities. The Niagara Foundation organized community friendship dinners with communities from different ethnic and faith backgrounds. We held dinners with Bosnians and Pakistanis, which were designed to foster friendship between these communities and the Turkish community in the greater Chicago area. We also held dinners with Jews, Christians, Muslims, Sikhs, Zoroastrians, and people of other faiths in order to foster friendship, understanding, and respect among these important religious communities. These community friendship dinners usually took place at the cultural, academic, or worship centers of the various ethnic or religious communities involved. Such dinners and other activities included the annual Niagara Friendship and Dialogue Dinner, which usually takes place during the Muslim sacred month of Ramadan. It is designed to encourage people of different religious and cultural backgrounds from the greater Chicago area to break bread together. This year, the dinner took place at the Intercontinental Hotel in Chicago. Around 300 distinguished guests attended, representing various faiths and communities in Chicago. Our keynote speaker was Reverend Dr. Dirk Fika, Executive Director of the Council for the Parliament of the World Religions. Another important event is the Niagara Abrahamic Traditions Dinner, which is organized every year for the purpose of strengthening friendship and understanding among the three Abrahamic traditions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In 2010, academicians from religious studies and theology departments from diverse colleges and universities in the greater Chicago area attended the dinner. This dinner's home was the Catholic Theological Union in Hyde Park. Our keynote speakers were Rabbi Joshua Feigelson, Director of Northwestern Hillel Center; His Grace Bishop Demetrios of Mokisos, Bishop of the Greek Orthodox Metropolis of Chicago; Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid, Chairman of the Council for a Parliament of the World Religions. Niagara Foundation also worked with ComEd to organize an interfaith panel in the corporate setup. The theme of the program was Understanding Religion in the Workplace. The event took place at the Exelon headquarters. Aaron Cohen from JUF News, Janan Hashim from CIOGC, and Scott Alexander from Catholic Theological Union were the panelists. The panel was moderated by Professor Paul Parker from Elmhurst College. Intercultural trips to Turkey. In 2010, the Niagara Foundation organized 10 different intercultural trips to Turkey as yet another means of building bridges and strengthening friendships between East and West. Though hailing from different cultural and religious backgrounds, we find common ground through our travels in which we share the same buses, lodgings, and dining tables, as well as the rich geographical and cultural heritage of Anatolia. The traveling Chicagoans were given the opportunity to meet new and, God willing, lifelong friends as a way of strengthening even further our commitment to a global ethic of dialogue and mutual understanding. Among some of the more prominent Chicago figures to make this journey with us in 2010 were Professor Sharif Bassioni, Distinguished Professor of Law from DePaul University; Anne Premagiori, President of ComEd; Speaker of the House Michael Madigan; and Kirsten Lane, Consul General of Sweden. International Conference on the Gulen Movement. In 2010, Niagara Foundation became the main organizer and the co-sponsor of an international conference on the Gulen Movement. This three-day international conference attracted hundreds of academics from all over the world. For 3 days, over 400 people gathered at the University of Chicago International House to examine this dynamic social movement through the eyes of many social academics. At the conference inauguration, Professor John Esposito from Georgetown University gave a keynote speech. At the conference, 21 academic papers were presented in 7 panels. Among these distinguished academics, Professor Martin Marty, Professor Carter Findley, Professor Sharif Bassioni, Professor Robert Pape, and Professor Greg Barton stood out.
The Glen movement, it might be transformed. In the association, the
rude mechanicals, the artisans.
I should note that he brought his original contribution to the paper, though.
To interview the governor, but I
Bassioni.
Glen repeatedly stresses the